The official INDYCAR app, powered by NTT data, puts the pulse-pounding action of INDYCAR right at your fingertips. Never miss a lap with the latest news, highlights, and live race coverage. Track every move with real-time leaderboards, interactive maps, onboard cameras, and driver radio. Your all-access pass to every race, every moment, every day. Download the official INDYCAR app now.
Well, this is Corn Country, and this is the starting grid, sponsored by NTT.
Scott McLaughlin, Christchurch, New Zealand.
I'm Jacob Abel from Louisville, Kentucky.
Rinus VK, Hoofddorp, the Netherlands.
Stingray Rob, Hayat, Idaho.
I'm Colton Herta from Valencia, California.
Hi, I'm Kevin Simpson from the Cayman Islands.
I'm Christian Lundgaard from Vejle, Denmark.
Devlin DiFrancesco, Toronto, Ontario.
Christian Rasmussen, I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark.
I'm Kyle Kirkwood from Jupiter, Florida.
I'm Callum Milo, I'm from Cambridge in the UK.
Robert Schwartzman, born in Israel, Tel Aviv.
Marcus Eriksson, Kumla, Sweden.
Graham Rahal, Columbus, Ohio.
Alexander Rossi, Nevada City, California.
Louis Foster, Odium, England.
Marcus Armstrong, Christchurch, New Zealand.
I'm David Malukas, grown up in Chicago, Illinois.
Santino Ferrucci, Woodbury, Connecticut.
Nolan Siegel, Palo Alto, California.
Will Power, Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia.
I'm Scott Dixon, driver of the number 9 PNC Bank Honda from Auckland, New Zealand.
Pato Award, Monterrey, Mexico.
Hello, I'm Alex Palou. I'm from Barcelona, Spain.
Felix Rosenqvist, Värnamo, Sweden.
Connor Daly from Noblesville, Indiana.
Josef Newgarden, Nashville, Tennessee.
It's all about the corn in Iowa. Welcome back to the fastest short track on the planet. Let's head down to pit lane and Georgia Hennebury.
Well, guys, I have my eye on Alex Palou, championship points leader by 113 points. He has won 6 of 10 races, including this year's Indianapolis 500. I talked to Alex before he jumped in the 10 car, and he said, I feel great. If I am any driver in the field, I do not want to hear that. But for the fans at home, we're going to watch for Alex Palou to try to get his first victory at Iowa Speedway. Jack, who are you watching?
Thanks, G. I'm going to be watching one of the most exciting drivers in this entire series, and of course I'm talking about Santino Ferrucci. Starting P9 today, he said he was feeling racy, and they was optimistic this high line's going to work, which bodes really well for all of us at home. Kevin.
You want to talk excitement, Jack, you have to talk about Superstar Pato Award, starting 5th today in his 100th IndyCar start. He's won here before. He's won another time on a short oval. He's always good. I said, why are you so good on these tracks? He said, that's a great question, but the car is always set up well. I'm really comfortable, and it fits my style. He is aggressive, thinks he can win tonight.
We love to hear that. It's Newgarden on the pole. It's Daly alongside him. Rosenqvist with a brilliant qualifying effort will start 3rd from Palou, your championship leader, who starts 4th. Of course, 114 points ahead of Kyle Kirkwood as the championship standings sit, leading here into Iowa. Then it is the aforementioned Pato Award. Scott Dixon, who won last time out, and Christian Lundgaard, who doesn't traditionally fare well on ovals, hoping for a good result today. Rosenqvist and Herta, Armstrong and Power and Santino Ferrucci make up your top 10 in the standings as we arrive here. There is your front row. First time we've seen a Juncos Hollinger racing car on the front row at an oval. That car driven by Connor Daly, who of course was so fast here during the test just a few days ago. Can he replicate that today? Can he replicate his performance from Gateway, where he so nearly took the victory? And what about Newgarden at the front? McLaughlin at the rear. Can Penske turn around their season starting here in Iowa? Time to head down trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome Iowa State Cyclones basketball player Joshua Jefferson.
Drivers, start your engines.
Well, when we talk about short track, we mean 0.894 miles. This, the Honda track preview.
Bull ring of a racetrack here in Iowa. What's so cool about it is you're always doing something. 10 degrees of banking on the front straight, Townsend. 184-mile-an-hour top speed as you head into the first turn.
Well, 4.4 Gs through that first turn. And how about this for Corn Country? 2 wins here, you kidding me? What was the secret?
I'll tell you what the secret was, is being good at the low line, being good at the high line, being good in traffic. This guy here, one of our next broadcasters, was even better at it than I was.
Yeah, Ryan Hunter-Ray bringing the bus, spontaneous trip with the family. He loves Iowa just as much as we do, but this place is really about the king, Josef Newgarden, who will start from pole going after that 7th win. And that's the stat in small font. Will almost 2,000 laps led around this place. He knows how to lead at Iowa.
And that is almost twice as many as every other driver in this field combined. This circuit is not like an oval circuit that we've been used to so far this season. It isn't 2 straights attached by corners. It is almost all corner. Troubles already for Christian Lundgaard. Can't get the car started, still sits there down on pit lane just ahead of our commentary position as the field rolls by him. And now he gets it lit, and now he gets away.
He'll have a chance to capture his original starting position. Team staying nice and calm right there. That was good work by everybody to not panic, get him restarted. Lundgaard will be 21st.
Now, guys, this is a 275-lap race. Strategy, as always, all important here. And this is what we're looking at today.
Just breathe. This is a physical racetrack. You said it. You are always turning 4 Gs. You can't inhale at that G-force. You got to hold your breath in the corner. Clean air is king. If you can find a bit of clear racetrack, Townsend, that is so good for your tires and to keep your car happy. And big risk, big reward. That high line can really pay off if you can get up there. That's the race strategy thanks to Verizon.
Can I add one more?
Of course.
This is a short oval. Stay out as long as you can. You do not want to pit under green flag conditions. Hang out for a yellow if you can stay out and survive on the tires.
And that is exactly what we saw in race 2 last year. Will Power started 22nd, hung it out as long as he dared, and sure enough, then came the yellow. Then he pitted, exited in 2nd place, fought for and ultimately took the race victory. How will it play out today? You can run as far as 100 laps. You're ideally looking at around 80 for a stint. It's going to be a fascinating, fast and frantic race here in Iowa. Each lap taking around 17 seconds. That is all.
And that's why you don't want to have to pit under green. You'll go 2 laps down in the process. So this place comes at you fast, furious, and unforgiving.
1 to go as we now cross the line, and the cars will line up 2 by 2. It will be Josef Newgarden and Colin Daly on the front row, then Rosenqvist and Palou, O'Ward and Dixon, Power and Siegel, Ferrucci and Malukas. They're your top 10, and amongst them drivers who have never won an IndyCar race and yet who we know run so well around the short course ovals. Newgarden in that red Astemo Chevrolet. Can he turn his season around? Can Daly take a first win? And what can anyone do about the power of Palou, the championship leader, starting on the 2nd row? They round turn 4. We look for the green. We have the green, and we have racing, and Newgarden immediately to the 4 with a brilliant start, and everybody seemingly clean. And no, we're not. We're yellow because we have a spin, and it's Colton Herta. So Herta carries on and continues on his way.
Do you see the yellow and black car, Colton Herta, right there on your screen?
He just jumped it, tried to go low and make a move. I think that was on Christian Lundgaard and just lost the back end.
I think he got his wheel down onto the apron. It sort of unweights the car. There's still an angle there. The left front gets down, unweights the car, hooks him around.
So an early yellow, time for us to nip away, and we will be back when racing resumes in Iowa. Welcome back to the NTT INDYCAR Series, racing in Iowa and at the Iowa Speedway, live on Fox. Sitting on board with the pole sitter Josef Newgarden, still under caution. Kevin, what can you tell us?
Scott McLaughlin thought about coming in to top off, but didn't want to take any chance of being lapped because he's in the back. He crashed in qualifying, so a lot of changes. Hybrid gearbox, underwing, left side pod, front rear wings, left side exhaust, but they were done in plenty of time. The car should be good. It's going to be fun to watch McLaughlin try to move forward.
Pace car is off. Newgarden controls the field and controls the pace as we roll back to racing action here in Iowa. It is Newgarden, Daly, Rosenquist and Palou, O'Ward and Dixon, your top 6. It is down to Newgarden to determine when to pull the trigger and drop the hammer, and he chooses now to lead the field back to green. Josef Newgarden from Connor Daly, and who is already having a look? It's Nolan Siegel taking a look at Will Power up on the inside through turn 1 and into 2. It's a lovely move from the McLaren man. Takes up 1 position on the restart.
Nice to see Will Power so confident to the outside as Alex Palou challenging Felix Rosenquist there in turns 3 and 4. Those drivers started 3rd and 4th. They still run in that order, but Palou going high. That keeps the line clean and opens the opportunity for other cars.
And that's what we need to see in the early part of this race, is drivers attempting those high line moves to keep it in use throughout this race. So Palou up a position to P3. Next on his radar is the car of Connor Daly.
And even Connor running about a half car width higher than Josef Newgarden in front. So if drivers continue to keep their right sides a little bit outside that single lane, we're going to be able to keep that second lane running all night long, and that's really what we want to see.
Christian Lundgaard dropping like a stone at the moment. He's been passed by one of the Premas. Looks like he's about to be passed by the car of
Devlin
Louis
DiFrancesco.
Is it Louis? I think it's Devlin. Yeah, you're right. Devlin DiFrancesco trying to hang it around the outside of Lundgaard, who in the McLaren, a car that should be competitive, having seen the pace of Nolan Siegel and that of Pato O'Ward. We know, though, he does struggle when it's all about turning left.
Dev doing a great job working that high line. Just trying to roll that speed across the middle of the corner, get a little bit of a half of a toe right here off the exit of 2. But Lundgaard's starting to find his rhythm.
Newgarden then, we ride on board back with him, looking back at Connor Daly, who is not letting the man who has won here 6 times disappear, keeping him well within a half a second.
No rush here for Connor Daly. He can settle in, get a sense of how his car is handling, and know that in probably another 5 laps or less, Josef Newgarden will be at the tail end of the lead lap. That's Jacob Abel running right now in 27th place. So only 3 or 4 more laps and things change dramatically for the leaders as they try to carve their way through lap traffic.
We sit on board with Scott McLaughlin. 5 places gained since the start of this race, 4 since we went back to green. Christian Rasmussen, another driver on the move, 3 places made up for him. So impressive at Gateway the last time we were on a short course oval, taking his first ever podium on that day.
If you think back to the Indy 500 in May, McLaughlin's teammate Josef Newgarden had a similar kind of challenge on his hands, starting at the back and methodically ticking it off. The difference here is 275 laps, James, at 17 seconds goes by really quickly. So you've got to be more aggressive at Iowa to win from the back. You can't hang out for too long. I think McLaughlin pacing things perfectly in the early running.
5 positions up so far. He is. He's making the moves he needs to make, but he also has to be wary of the leaders coming up on the back of the field. Right now, Newgarden's across the start-finish line. Abel is in the middle of 1 and 2, so they're going to catch the tail end of this pack pretty quickly here. And what we know about Josef Newgarden is he is so good in traffic, and if he starts cutting his way through that line, he could be on the back of the XPEL Chevy before you know it.
But we haven't seen cars running too wide for the last 7 or 8 laps, so that's going to be really tricky for Newgarden. He's got to be very careful as he picks his way through. McLaughlin, meanwhile, with a nice run there on Devlin DiFrancesco, but not good enough.
Devlin, who of course was trying to get past Lundgaard just a few laps ago. Quite incredibly, we are 20 laps through this 275 lap contest here in Iowa. That is just how fast these laps fly by. Newgarden leads from Daly by half a second. Then it's Palou and Rosenquist, O'Ward and Dixon, Siegel and Powell, Ferrucci and Malukas. Your top 10 as things stand. And you know what, Townsend, you were talking about Josef Newgarden, that run he had at the Indianapolis 500, talking to the team. They remain confident that without that issue that he had with the car that took him out of the race, he would have been on to win that race. That is just how good he was on that day. What a great oval car Penske have had. And when we look back to the last short course oval, of course, at Gateway, Penske again, super competitive, but things just didn't go their way. Newgarden leading brilliantly and involved in that massive accident with Louis Foster. McLaughlin, though, has made the position on Devlin DeFrancesco. Next man for him is Christian Lundgaard, as we ride on board thanks to Expel. McLaughlin just staying calm, staying cool, doing what he does. He won here, took his first ever oval win here. Knows this track like the back of his hand. A big crash for him, though, during qualifying. Saw him start 27th and last. The lowest we've ever seen a driver win on the grid here in Iowa. 23rd and last, Simon Pagenaud back in 2020. What has Scott McLaughlin got in the tank today? Running lap 25 of 275 at Iowa Speedway. Back in Iowa, riding on board with the pole sitter and race leader Josef Newgarden, who is now on the rear of Colton Herter and lapping the field. Let's take a look at the Dallara cutaway car, though, Townsend.
Yeah, just a great reminder of what Newgarden and his teammate Scott McLaughlin are challenging with as they work through traffic here is dirty air. When you have clean air, 100% of the downforce is available to you, but as soon as that lap car or the position car you're racing moves right in front of you, you lose a tremendous amount of downforce and thus grip through the corner. on a track that's racing pretty one groove right now, James. It's really hard to find even a tiny bit of clean air. That's what the drivers are playing with, moving a quarter to a half car width high or low to try to clean up the air to their front wing.
Yeah, exactly right. But now that we have Newgarden at the tail end of the field trying to get through some of this lap traffic, you're going to force some of those situations. You're going to force some cars to go up there. And once one driver starts making it work, drivers they're copycats. Monkey see, monkey do. Spotters will be telling their driver, hey, so-and-so's making the high line work. Let's go out there and start exploring. So we just need the first guy to kind of take the bullet.
But with every lap that's run, it becomes more and more risky to get up high because of all of the spent rubber off the tires that accumulates offline.
Newgarden, Daly, and Palou have made their way past Jacob Abel to put him a lap down. The driver, though, very much on the move right now. Scott McLaughlin up 11 places from where he started today. He's now 16th and on an absolute tear. It's nothing wild, it's nothing crazy. He's just getting the job done, being utterly methodical and clinical with his passes. So clean. And that car that he has underneath him today is absolutely bolted. He looks phenomenal on track today. Callum Ilott in 15th. The next driver for him, just 40 laps through this race, and look how many places he's made up.
But moments ago, in front of Scott McLaughlin, the 21 car of Christian Rasmussen had a save, we understand. Oh, wow. Boy, that's a crash that didn't happen. Holy cow.
Not only was that a super long, really good save, as we watch on board from, wow, the fact that he didn't get up into the high lane where there isn't as much grip and have the accident like we saw at Kirkwood in practice, that was unbelievable.
Rasmussen is never not exciting on an oval. We saw it at Indy, we've seen it at Gateway, we're seeing it again today as Dixon puts the move on Felix Rosenqvist and takes 5th position away. Rosenqvist starting to drop. Siegel making his way past now as well, and Power will be the next man. I wonder if Rosenqvist has something of an issue, because he's been looking great all the way through this race, but now dropping as Ferrucci has a look at Power as well behind. They run too wide through turn 2.
And as a driver right now, you just saw it with Rasmussen, you really start to feel the car move around underneath you. We ride on board with Santino Ferrucci thanks to Sexton. And let's just ride for a lap and listen to his throttle control and his respect for the grip that is fading.
+5 now.
Power puts the move on Rosenqvist. Felix really starting to drop now. Ferrucci can smell a position, he can smell a move is coming.
Those bumps on the entry to turn 1 are terrifying, guys. You see how Ferrucci's hands kind of wiggle a little bit. He's got those saves. That's the car unloading, which at that phase of the corner is such an uncomfortable feeling.
Ferrucci has such a broad knowledge base of oval racing by virtue of the last couple years getting exposure in midgets at places like the Chili Bowl or in NASCAR in the Xfinity Series. Big, heavy cars, and you can really hear his experience, the way he tips into the throttle here. He just never gets into too aggressively as he's dealing with depleting grip from the rear axle, and he just rolls in nice and smooth, very respectful of the grip that's available, trying to do his best to make the tires last.
Santino Ferrucci, who has been on a rich vein of form this season, had 4 top 5s in a row, continued his incredible run at the Indianapolis 500 of year on year, always somehow finding a way to finish in the top 10. I was talking to him earlier this weekend, and he said, you know what, I'm not interested in trying to promote myself to a big team. I want to take AJ Foyt, the legend, back to the top step of the podium. I want to make this team a winner again. He sits 9th at the moment on a track that he loves, on a circuit type that he absolutely adores, as we pull back to Josef Newgarden, still leading from Connor Daly by just less than a second.
And I think what we're seeing right now, James, is the experience of a 6-time winner here. He knows, I don't need to press particularly hard right now. There's no need, unless he's feeling huge pressure from Connor Daly. That car up ahead is Colton Herta. I think Newgarden is perfectly happy to stay in this little bubble. He's got a nice buffer of clean air to Herta in front. He's watching the trailing car, 2nd place of Connor Daly, and he's just managing the air front and rear.
Yeah, and that gap to Colton Herta gives him enough clean air to really have that extra downforce. That helps take care of his tires. And if they're trying to go long in this first stint, which, as you mentioned, is one of the keys to winning here, extending these stints as far as you can, He's probably back there hitting a number, taking care of his tires. By hitting a number, I mean a fuel number. Team will have given him a target fuel number to hit.
Back on board with Scott McLaughlin. The car ahead is Callum Ilott, but he's being backed up into McLaughlin by Marcus Ericsson ahead. This is not the day or the weekend that Andretti had hoped for. Ericsson missed the pit lane in practice. Kirkwood crashed in practice. Herta spun on lap 1, but McLaughlin in the Penske absolutely hooked up and coming for that Prema and next for that Andretti. Kevin, what can you tell us about Scott McLaughlin?
Well, remember that his engineer, Ben Bretzman, has been in this situation before. Back in 2020, Simon Pagenaud had an issue in qualifying and started last in both races of the doubleheader, finished 4th in one, won the other, and he said, we're going to use the same strategy. We need to get as many as we can early, then settle in and try to stay out longer than everyone else, and maybe win the race the same way that Will Power did last year.
Well, McLaughlin wants to keep track of the gap to the leader, his teammate Josef Newgarden. In fact, in the last 25 laps, he's knocked 5 seconds out of Newgarden's lead to McLaughlin. Really important to manage if you think about winning.
And you know who was on the front row that day when Pagenaud won from last place? Connor Daly, his one and only pole position in the NTT INDYCAR Series. Crazy statistic, and that has only increased to the tune of 66 so far today. Josef Newgarden absolutely loves this place, and he's loved this place pretty much right from the start. You think back to when he was racing for Sarah Fisher back in the early 2010s. Got 2 second places here, 2014, 2015, before he won with Ed Carpenter in 2016. From that point on to this, he has won 6 races, but look at his teammate Scott McLaughlin now on the rear wing of Marcus Ericsson, trying to take another place. He's up to 15th from 27th on the grid.
Watch what Scotty Mack does right here through turn 3 and 4. He's the only driver right now running mid to mid-high right there, and it is working extremely well as he gets a perfect run on Ericsson. Another position gain. McLaughlin now up 13 spots since the start. Brilliant job, and he's doing it with perfect technique.
And the confidence that gives you from inside the race car is immense. When you know you made that mistake in qualifying, you had to start right at the back, made the crew thrash. I mean, this qualifying was earlier today. They didn't have a long time to get this car fixed, but Penske, as always, delivered as a team to get the car on the grid. And now Scotty Mack is delivering on the racetrack, and every car he goes by, his confidence is just building and building, and the fact that he's able to continue to do it this late into a stint shows that that car is truly hooked up.
Rasmussen puts the Pouve on Eilert and makes a place up. I tell you, you want to look at who's made up positions today. McLaughlin's made up 13 places. No one else is within 10 positions of that. Rossi's made up 3, Rasmussen's made up 3, Lundgaard's made up 3. That is just the type of charge that Scott McLaughlin is on today. We sit on board with him once again and take a look for that line as we come up through 3 and into 4 that Townsend was talking about. That higher line, it allows him to keep the momentum, take it through 4 and launch down onto what is not a start-finish straight, is a start-finish kink into 1 and 2. The momentum clear.
James, opportunity for the spotters that sit above the tower where we commentate right now to get on the horn with their drivers and say, hey, Scotty Mack is chewing up the field with this technique. Start thinking about making an adjustment and moving up mid-track. He's the only one that's doing it, and it's magic right now.
David Malukas next on his radar. He was magic at Gateway just a few weeks ago. A phenomenal drive from him there, but I don't know who is going to have an answer for the drive of Scott McLaughlin in this mid-pack today. He is in a class of his own.
Yeah, and you said it, Townsend. I bet a lot of drivers are getting word.
And we have a yellow.
Down, yellow, turn 2.
Oh boy, car in the wall. I think it's Jacob Abel. It is.
It is on the exit of 2.
And Christian Rasmussen just was able to sneak high and around.
Right front suspension totally gone.
Yeah, fine.
And you heard Jacob Abel say he got high and probably picked up quite a few marbles on the tires. And that's the ice driving we always talk about here.
So we keep an eye on the top of the screen. That's the exit of 2. There he is, high up in the marbles and hard into the wall.
Yeah, it's hard to see exactly how it started. You know, by mid-corner, he was already quite high.
Oh, boy.
Rasmussen threading the needle on the outside.
I mean, he is a guaranteed highlight 4 or 5 times in oval, Christian Rasmussen. There's always something going on. He got high and probably couldn't turn it either and just barely made the corner and then shot the gap between the wall and Abel.
The AMR IndyCar safety team arrived on the scene as they always do, incredibly fast and efficiently, and will get Jacob Abel's number 51 Honda away as quickly as possible. But guys, what does this now do for strategy? Because we were talking before the race, you could run 100 laps, 80 optimum. If a yellow came out earlier than 100, there's a chance that this thing turns from being a hold off and try to look after fuel race into a push race, goes from a 2-stop potentially to a 3.
Well, Townsend, I'm not a great mathematician, but to me, this sounds like a good thing because it's late enough in the stint, you have to stop. We see the crews lined up on pit lane. It's about to get very busy down there, but they can't really do it on just one more from here. So I think this opens up the opportunity for drivers to really start pushing, not have to worry about fuel, knowing there's 2 stops left on the day.
I don't know. I look at the math, 77 laps complete. We think you could do 100 laps on a stint, so I think you could make it on one more stop the way things are playing out. But we've been wrong before. We've been right before. We were guessing at Mid-Ohio and Road America if the fuel was going to work. But one thing's for sure, you cannot afford to pit under green when you're presented with an opportunity at lap 78. I think everybody coming to pit lane right now.
As soon as that pit lane opens, we're going to see a mad scramble. I can tell you, looking outside of our commentary box window, pretty much every single pit stall is standing by for their driver.
But what I like about this is what I'm seeing in turn 3 and 4 right now, and that's the sweepers out there.
Yes.
Taking care of those marbles, taking care of that spent rubber on the high line at both ends of this racetrack. That's going to open everything up and give drivers a bit more confidence on this restart.
You're telling me we're going to get drivers pushing on fuel and a clean high line? I like the sound of that. Drivers on pit lane, led by Josef Newgarden. Jack Harvey waiting for us.
Yeah, the number 76 of Connor Daly will actually be the guy who stops in his box first. This is the battle for the lead. Him and Josef Newgarden. They're changing the wheels. They're going to do a full tank of this Shell 100% renewable fuel. This is going to be massive for the restart. Georgia, what are you seeing?
I see the championship points leader at the attention of his crew. We're going to put new Firestone tires, fill it up with fuel. He was asked if they wanted any changes. They said no, and he's down and away.
Absolute disaster for Connor Daly, who has been swamped by the field. Palou's moved up to second. Scott Dixon has moved up to third. Then it is O'Ward. Then it is Daly, who just got out ahead of Alex Palou. A slight bobble on the rear right in Daly's stop. Newgarden still leads, but now he has the championship leader hot on his heels. Tuesday, it's the Midsummer Classic as Judge, Shohei, and baseball's biggest stars head to Atlanta for the MLB All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on Fox. Still under caution here in Iowa. Time to take a replay of Connor Daly's stop. There was a bobble on the rear right, guys, but it's the rear left that we've got major question marks about.
Yeah, just watch the pit crew member working the air gun. Can't quite tell what the issue was, and we also can't quite tell if that left rear is fully secure. I think Connor would know it by now after a couple of pace laps as they get ready to fire off one more time.
But we will find out pretty quickly. Josef Newgarden tempers the pace, brings them through 3 and into 4, and will get this race underway once again. But it's not Connor Daly on his rear wing. Now it's the championship leader, Alex Palou, who is under pressure from his own teammate, Scott Dixon.
The 3 wide further behind right there, trying to work that outside line. Daly going to work to try to make up some of the spots that he lost in pit lane.
Already getting past Rosenquist and having a look at Power at the same time as Ericsson takes a look at the rookie Louis Foster, but can't find a way through at the moment. Connor Daly, though, wasting absolutely no time in showing the pace of that car and trying to make up some of the positions lost in that last pit stop. 2 by 2, side by side, and that's Malukas and one of the ECR cars.
Connor is looking so aggressive up front, trying to make a move on O'Ward and Dixon. They are all jammed up as they cross start-finish. Connor is determined to get back what he had before the pit stop sequence.
Doesn't look like a fuel save race anymore. This is push, push, push as O'Ward goes to the outside of Dixon, and Daly holds in rear and just has a look at them both going through there. But Dixon holds on, and O'Ward will not let that go. Wants to make the pass and again goes to the high line. Cleaned up under caution. The McLaren driver keeping it stuck in. We go side by side.
Gets the pass done as O'Ward white-knuckled it, and Daly using the momentum and the checkup from Dixon to get alongside. He's ahead at the line. Can he clear him by one? He can.
And now O'Ward has a look at Palou, and that's 2 moves for Patricio O'Ward, and Daly now on to the championship leader and past the championship leader. It's Newgarden from O'Ward, from Daly.
That worked perfectly for Connor Daly. Palou with the big checkup as O'Ward went to the inside, I think surprised Alex Palou, and Connor Daly with a big head of steam, and now Pato O'Ward wants the lead of this thing.
Yeah, let's rewind 1 year to the Indy 500. Pato O'Ward in Josef Newgarden's mirrors. Remember me? Bet you do. Here it comes, Pato O'Ward, absolutely on a tear.
Josef Newgarden picked up about a half a second once Pato O'Ward got into his mirrors.
Dave, run with Newgarden, your P2.
They've got history, these two.
There's a lot of oval races where they finish 1-2, usually with Josef in front. As we go back to McLaughlin watch a little bit further down, 14th right now, working on the ECR machine of Alex Rossi.
Let's take a look at Scott McLaughlin into turn 3 and 4, thanks to Expel. Let's watch if he does his little slide job mid-track. Well, he wanted to, but Alexander Rossi,
he got the memo,
just in front, has figured out McLaughlin's trick. And now McLaughlin's kind of jammed up in that dirty air, because with Rossi running the high line, McLaughlin struggling to find a great place to position his race car mid-corner.
Having to go low. The great racers adapt.
So that's Ericsson in front of Rossi, obviously running on the bottom there. Rossi keeping his car pretty much in clean air, getting all that downforce like we showed you. But what's going to happen is one of the two of their tires is going to start going first, and once the tires start to wear, that's where that can really start working, as we see this battle now with Power and Dixon.
Power up the inside of Scott Dixon.
You're clear.
Will Power may have more poles at this track than anyone else, but he only has
even weaker than Dixon.
Only has one victory here.
I really like the way Will Power has played the start of this thing. As McLaughlin gets by Ericsson with authority down there in 3 and 4, but Will Power very steady, ran in 7th for all of the opening stint, really didn't push, but now mid-race, the Verizon driver starting to make some moves.
And that's the thing here, Power knows you don't have to be 10/10ths all race long. 275 laps, that's a lot of tours around this place. He knows you just got to get yourself slowly into that position by that last pit cycle.
And he also knows that a week ago at Mid-Ohio, this guy, Alex Palou, up in front of him, he thought blocked him during qualifying, and Power had stern words for the championship leader. I wonder how much residual frustration might play out as Power has a chance to pounce on Palou.
And then what happened in the race? 2 mistakes from Alex Palou, something we are not used to seeing. He's dropped to 4th from 2nd at the restart. Newgarden still leads, but guys, this feels like a lot more racy than those opening first 75 laps. O'Ward in 2nd, Daly in 3rd. We sit on board with the pole sitter and race leader Josef Newgarden.
I also think that Will Power is starting to get the memo from McLaughlin there, because on the last lap through 3 and 4, Power was doing the slide high for a clean air. Oh, sorry, we're on the board with Josef Newgarden looking out the back there, the Estimo car. And this is the view you want at Iowa. You talk about clean air. This whole county is Josef Newgarden's right now. He owns this place once again, and he'll be at 2,000 laps led real soon.
Newgarden's now led 100 laps for the 14th time in his career. 10 of those here at Iowa. Look at Power, though, now coming for Alex Palou. Getting ever closer to the championship leader, just drawing him in inch by inch, lap by lap. Great exit down the start-finish curve. Can he have a look into one? Not quite close enough yet.
You talk about that clean air from Josef Newgarden, but he's not going to have it for very long. Already, as he comes off of 4, end of the line is Lundgaard heading into 1, so he's got less than the front straight before he starts getting back into traffic. And as you say, it is a little bit racier right now. 4 of the top 5 fastest laps of the race have been set since that last pit stop. So drivers really starting to put the power down.
100 laps into this race, one headline seems clear. Penske are back. It's been a horrible season for the team we know for being perfect and for being consistent race winners in this series. It has been awful. But Newgarden leads. Power is on the move, and McLaughlin has made up 14 places from where he started. Coming up next, it's baseball night in America on Fox. Catch Bryce Harper as he leads the Phillies against Manny Machado and the Padres. Or the Rangers take on the Astros. Check local listings for the game in your area right here on Fox. Running lap 116 of 275. Josef Newgarden leads from Pato O'Ward and Connor Daly, but we have got side-by-side action thick and fast here in Iowa. And one of the drivers, but two of the drivers getting involved in that. These guys, Callum Eilert, and one of the guys to always keep your eyes on a short course oval, Christian Rasmussen, not just side by side, but wheel to wheel and contact between the two.
Hey, head it back. He's f***ing hitting me. Head it back.
Did he say hit him back or get him back?
I'll tell you what, I don't think I'd want to spend any moment near Christian Rasmussen on the high side right now, because Rasmussen has been wild and really appeared to come off the low line and drive Callum Eilert high there. That was sketchy and a little dirty, if I may say so.
Eilert running 14th, Rasmussen down to 15th as we ride on board with Josef Newgarden. Pato O'Ward half a second behind. Connor Daly has fallen about a second behind this battle as it stands, but is still managing to fend off the advances of the championship leader, Alex Palou. Then it's Will Power, Scott Dixon, Nolan Siegel, Marcus Armstrong, Santino Ferrucci and Felix Rosenqvist, your top 10 as we run lap 120. Now the driver ahead of Josef Newgarden, hoping to stop himself from going a lap down, is Stingray Rob. Kevin, what can you tell us?
Well, really nice story with one of Stingray's partners, Good Heart Animal Centers. They work with Freedom Service Dogs of America. They train Labrador Retrievers at many facilities around the country, including one about 2 hours from here, Fort Dodge Correctional Facility. The dogs are trained by the inmates, so it gives those people a second chance to make a contribution in the rehabilitation. And then the dogs go to first responders, veterans, and others to help. For example, veterans with PTSD, one story is what the dogs can do. Maybe a veteran is a bit worried about the dark because of a previous experience. The dog can go in, turn the lights on, basically clear the room to help the veteran feel more comfortable. Just a wonderful story and just great work that is being done by this group.
Love that. Love that. Thanks for bringing us behind the scenes stories, Kev. Always interesting to hear that. And you get a great livery car out of it as well. Josef Newgarden coming on fast now. Pato O'Ward hoping to follow him through. This has been a picture-perfect day for Josef Newgarden in a season of continual disappointments. How much he would love to turn things around with a victory on his favorite circuit. He has led every step of the way, 125 laps in the lead. But look at the average finishing positions this season. For Josef Newgarden, 17th. Today he runs first with his best opportunity at a victory, well, I'd say since Gateway, where he was definitely on for the win.
Yet dominating that event before a crash that he got caught up in, no fault of his own. At least the second time that he was on course for a shot at a victory before it was taken away from him. And I'm just watching the car language right now against Stingray Rob. He seems a lot more keen to move up and get around the lap cars than he did in that first stint. I'm hoping that means these drivers are pushing, T-Bell.
Well, they're pushing, but I think they're comfortably in range. Last year, Will Power did 100 laps without trouble under green. And I think Newgarden's doing exactly what he did on the previous stint before the pit stop with Connor Daly running in second, is just managing the gap. Probably getting up to Stingray right now and experimenting. Maybe I can get by, but if it's not that easy, I don't want to burn my tires up in dirty air. So I think Newgarden is just managing the race right now from the front, potentially with his first win of the season. And there it goes. Newgarden past Stingray Rob. Now he's got a buffer to Pato O'Ward.
The interesting one for me right now is Will Power sitting in fifth. He's got past Scott Dixon and he's just starting to draw in Palou. Again, it's tenths of a second, it's tenths of a mile an hour every single lap, drawing in that championship leader. Kevin, what can you tell us about fuel strategy here today?
Going back to what Townsend is talking about, I think people are still thinking about one more stop, but it is going to be really close. The general consensus has been they're not getting as good a fuel mileage as Will Power did last year when he went over 100 laps. They lessened a little bit of power, which would seem allows for better fuel mileage, but that means you're on the throttle a little bit more. So the teams I talked to aren't sure if they can get close to 100 laps on the Shell fuel at this point. So it's going to be tight. One more caution gets it there, but I think you're going to see a few that might need a third stop.
We love a bit of uncertainty in the NTT IndyCar Series, and look how close Power is getting now to Alex Palou. It's just a couple of car lengths through four and through the start-finish curve. Alex Palou, who has never won this race in his storied career, of course only took his first oval win at this year's Indianapolis 500. Will Power knows better than anyone what it takes to be fast around this circuit. More pole positions around here than anyone in history. He has 4 times set the fastest lap. He has won here though just once, but it was the most recent time that we raced around this, the fastest short track on the planet. Race 2, 2024.
Pato O'Ward now has cleared Stingray Robb as well, and that gap to Josef Newgarden went from a full second to a half second pretty quickly. I think that might be a little bit delayed still. You see he's still got to catch up to the number 2, but he's got that clean air now. He can put the hammer down on that last lap a few tenths quicker than Josef.
So running lap 136, it's Newgarden and O'Ward at the front of the field. Then Connor Daly, Alex Palou, Will Power and Scott Dixon, your top 6. Welcome back to NTT INDYCAR Series Racing from Iowa Speedway live on Fox, and we have got a race for the lead because just moments ago Josef Newgarden came to try and lap the number 8 car of Kyffin Simpson, the Ganassi driver who's having such a great second half of the season, and Kyffin defends, as is his right to do, to stop Newgarden from lapping him, but all of that slowed the momentum of the race leader and allowed Pato O'Ward to get ever closer and have a sniff at the back of the race leader.
Yeah, it was just a slightly mistimed run off for 4 because Kyffin got checked up a little bit from the car in front, so he didn't have the full run done, and you saw how much he had to get out of the throttle there, and that allowed O'Ward a huge head of steam into turn 3. Not quite close enough to attempt to move, but this is how quickly it can change on a short track.
So smart from Josef Newgarden to back out of it. Probably visions of that spin at Gateway. Was it last year where he did the exact same thing, got high in the gray, spun the car around, didn't hit anything, but was a big heart and throat moment for Josef Newgarden. He's learned, and also learned that he can hang on to the lead. He doesn't need to press that hard in that moment. He'll save it for the end if he needs to.
Lap 150 of 275. We are past halfway at the Iowa Speedway. Kyffin Simpson still doing his best to hang on to the lead lap And all of that is allowing Pato O'Ward to stay as close as he possibly can to the race leader. Jack, what can you tell us about our race leader?
He's been having some radio communication with his engineer, Luke Mason, about tyres are starting to get some degradation. While I was over there, also asked, any chance you can do this on one stop? And there was a pretty coy shake of the head to say no. So still expecting this to be another 2 stops today.
Interesting. They've only got to make it work for about another 23 laps. If they can get to 175, theoretically, they can run the last stint of 100 laps without stopping again. Theoretically, though, is the key word here. We are still in massively uncertain territory.
I think you're
Oh, someone's up. Someone's up and in the wall. And that is Kirkwood.
Second in the championship. And we talked about marbles forming. This is exactly where the last caution came from. In the same spot, Jacob Abel was the one getting high, and Kirkwood knows that his day is done and he's frustrated.
In the Sukup Honda, high through 1 and 2. He sits on the exit of 2. And after such a brilliant run had placed him up in 2nd place in the championship, this a horror show result for him, and really a horrible day for all of Andretti. He crashed in practice, crashes again in the race. Here's a replay, and just getting high and onto the marbles. And once you get up that high, James, onto those marbles, are you just a passenger? Does it just take all opportunity to turn away?
It's like hitting black ice in a road car in the winter. Let's listen here.
Something broke. Right front, I believe. I'm not sure if it's a cut tire or the suspension broke.
You could hear it dragging.
Yeah, let's try to watch that onboard again, because you can hear something happen before he starts losing the front of the car, because that was very early in the corner.
Sounds like it's something at the rear.
That's on board with Graham Rahal, as you saw Kyle Kirkwood, just a passenger. You know, there was a right front tire failure in the test here. When
I'm trying to look,
a lot of the cars came. Let's watch and listen. Watch the right front.
Yeah, I think you're right, T-Bell. You can start to see the sidewall flutter a little bit.
Jack, what can you tell us?
Well, as you're seeing, everybody is going to funnel down into pit lane. Number 2 of Josef Newgarden is just about to stop on his marks. This was a great yellow for him. He was starting to complain about tyre degradation. You're also seeing Pato O'Ward in the 5. And these teams are some of the best on pit lane. This is going to be a great battle to the end. Georgia.
Alex Palou in the front pit stop down on pit lane. He was asked to do one of any changes. He wants to turn and have the front wing new tires into fuel. They have been so calm, cool, and collected. He's down pit lane.
Another great stop from Ganassi gets Alex Palou out ahead of Connor Daly once again.
But I want to point out a great stop from Hunkos Hollinger for Connor Daly. They didn't lose much there, as we see one more time Kirkwood getting into the fence.
Please join Fox's support of recovery efforts following the devastating floods in Texas. Your donation supports the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country's relief and rebuilding efforts. Please visit go.fox/TX Flood Relief or scan the QR code on your screen to support the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. Thank you. Our thoughts, prayers with everybody. Great state of Texas. Running lap 162 here at the Iowa Speedway. Josef Newgarden leads from Pato O'Ward, who exited the pits even. Alex Palou made up a place. Connor Daly lost a place. Will Power made a place. Nolan Siegel made a place up to 6th place, which meant that Scott Dixon lost 2. Armstrong even in 8th. Ferrucci even in 9th. Louis Foster, the rookie for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, up to 10th. Brilliant job from him and the RLL crew. McLaughlin and Rasmussen, they're both up to in 11th and 12th.
And how about this, guys? Josef Newgarden on lap 153 surpassed 2,000 laps led here at Iowa. Only driver in history to lead that many laps at a single track.
I mean, the promoter's got to come up with something like a giant cornbread that you get gifted when you lead 2,000 laps here. Something. Amazing stat as we listen to a little bit of radio out of Scotty Mack.
What's going to happen here? Like I said, you're going to have one more stop from here. It's going to be a no fuel save situation unless something weird happens with the yellows still. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a Saturday afternoon shootout.
And that is music to our ears. There is no way they can go to the end stopping when they did. There will have to be one more stop. Tires will be good to go. It's push. It's push from now to the end of the race. Bring it on.
Look, it's what we want to hear. It's also what all of these drivers want to hear. Every single one of the cars out still running, 25 cars still on that racetrack. They don't want to be saving fuel. They want to be pushing and going for it.
And that last pit stop is going to be fuel only on really used tires, right? So if you're just trying to make it, say they're 15 laps short at the end, they'll just plug and pull. They won't do tires. So talk about a handful for these drivers down the stretch. Guys, it's about to get wild here for the closing 110 laps.
Flagman Aaron Likens giving them the 1 to go here. And I think as every lap goes by, well, these drivers are getting more and more confident to use that second lane.
And just as last time under caution, that second lane, that high line has been cleaned of all of the tire, the rubber marks up there. All of the clag has gone. It will be good for racing when Josef Newgarden once again brings them round 3 and round 4 to restart this race. Drops the hammer, tries to pull away from Pato O'Ward. A slight little wiggle from Pato, but has a look as Will Power has a look up the inside of Connor Daly, and that's a lovely move from the Penske driver. Daly will not want to let him get through, though. All the hard work from Daly to make those positions and hold on to those positions, and he does maintain that position. And now Ferrucci having a look at Scott Dixon. We know that Ferrucci likes to get his elbows out, and it's in these early laps where he's going to try to make that charge, and Dixon's going to have to defend, and Siegel now puts the move on Power.
Too wide, too deep there through turns 1 and 2. Siegel stays ahead of Power. Dixon trying to fend off Ferrucci, but he clears him into 4.
How about Connor Daly saying to Alex Palou, hey, watch this, bud. Connor is in a hurry to make a move to the high side because the track is clean. It will not stay clean long. He's trying everything he can.
That was crafty from Palou. He turned in and didn't immediately go to the bottom. He kind of sat his car in that middle of lane 1 and 2, didn't give Connor the bit of racetrack that he was expecting, and look at the kind of checkup and separation it's created. That was crafty from the championship leader.
We sit on board with McLaughlin sitting P12. Louis Foster ahead of us, who's lost 1 place to Rasmussen, who's really on the charge from the restart, making up another place. That's 3 just from the stops.
It's Colton Herta and Felix Rosenqvist going side by side. Now remember, earlier it was Alexander Rossi ahead of McLaughlin that had taken McLaughlin's high line. Now rookie Louis Foster is the car ahead of McLaughlin. Maybe it's going to be a little easier for McLaughlin to work his way past.
Sirius XM on board here with Rosenqvist. He is not happy in that race car, just falling back as we see Herta clear Rinus VeeKay there. That gets Herta up into 16th position.
Tell you who looks like he's on a bit of a chase at the moment and a bit of a charge, and that's Santino Ferrucci, one of the drivers at the start of the race. So we said keep your eyes on him, because when it gets racy at Iowa, nobody enjoys it more than Santino Ferrucci. Up to 7th place, and we ride on board with him. Look at that train ahead of him as Power runs on to the higher line. Ahead of him is Siegel, ahead of him is Daly, then Palou, Ward and Newgarden. This is your battle for the lead and the win of this race.
You got to wonder, how badly does Santino Ferrucci want to get to Connor Daly? Thanks to Sexton Properties, we get this great view of how the air is staggered in front of Ferrucci, meaning the car just in front there, Will Power going up high, Ferrucci staying low. But remember, Ferrucci and Daly had issues at Mid-Ohio, with Ferrucci driving Daly off into Mansfield, Ohio, seemingly in turn 5. And then Connor Daly brake checking Ferrucci on pit lane. But Kevin, what can you tell us about Kyle Kirkwood?
Well, first I want to make sure he's okay. Are you all right, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm fine. I feel good. Just unfortunate. You know, the Sukup Honda, I thought we were making big improvements in the race, and we're starting to get into the groove of things and setting up our strategy quite well. And something out of our control just ruined it here for us today. But yeah, we're watching on board right here. Right front just goes away. Can't do anything about it. Unfortunate, but not much else to say.
3-time race winner, second in the championship. Unfortunately, Kyle Kirkwood not scoring well today.
You know, it seems strange to say this, but right now it feels as though Alex Palou is something of a cork in the bottle, because everyone behind him is bunching and trying to pass as Siegel is defending from Will Power. We're taking a look at Rasmussen in 10th, just trying to make his way through, and here does come Power on the McLaren of Nolan Siegel, has the pace advantage, moves to the inside and clears him with ease.
Yeah, that was decisive. I mean, it's hard to get a draft on these short straights, but you saw there off of 2. If you can get kind of within that pocket, it's about 3 car lengths behind, off of 2 or off of 4. It's amazing how quickly it pulls you in.
And really does pull him in. Look at the slipstream, look at the toe that he's getting from Daly, and the pace advantage through taking that line. Power now on Connor Daly. Will have the inside run at 1, and it's 2 drivers in 2 laps for Will Power. And next on his agenda is the championship leader. Is that cork in the bottle, Alex Palou?
Team Penske 1st and 4th right now, with McLaughlin further back, still trying to work his way up from 12th. But I'd say easily the best race so far for Team Penske this season. They're in great position as Will Power sliding high mid-corner for that clean air, just like what Scotty Mack showed the field about 100 laps ago.
It's been a beautiful drive today from Will Power.
Yeah. Measured, disciplined, great technique.
And this, a guy who we were talking to at the start of the weekend, still without a contract for next season, one of Penske's most successful drivers. He is statistically the fastest driver this championship has ever seen and has ever known, with more pole positions than anyone in history. His pedigree and his talent is undeniable, and yet here he sits without a contract.
James, you saw there Palou so cleverly, as you mentioned earlier, moving high now mid-corner. Spotters doing a great job for the driver there, letting him know how to adjust his line as McLaughlin is going to get Foster.
That is bold. Straight to the high side around Louis Foster, and that is brave from Scott McLaughlin.
It's brave and it's trusting when you're committed to it.
Man, nice. I'm going back in your rhythm. Only one running top side has been Ilon again. He's been top 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Otherwise, everyone's single file.
Some great feedback there from his spotter, but you know, you're so committed to that outside run. You're praying that the spotters are doing their jobs, telling Louis Foster, hey, he's coming, he's got that run, don't close the door, and then trusting Foster to leave you an Indy car's width plus an inch on that outside line, and he stayed buried in it and got it done.
And maybe it was only half an inch, because it was close. Next for Scott McLaughlin is the car of Marcus Armstrong ahead of him. Kevin, what's going on with the 12, man?
Well, remember at Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis, the right front went away for Will Power. He just said, let me know about the right front. I think they're keeping an eye on tire temps, and what can he do to help manage that right front to make sure he makes it to the end.
So as things run, it's Newgarden from O'Ward, Palou from Power, Daly and Siegel, Ferrucci and Dixon, Rasmussen and Armstrong your top 10, and Scott McLaughlin knocking on the door to make it 3 Penskes. Welcome back to Iowa. We are hurtling towards lap 200 of 275. Josef Newgarden leads, as he has done all afternoon, in one of the best drives that we have seen this season, and on a track where we know Josef Newgarden always excels. The last driver to lead every lap on an oval was Ryan Hunter-Reay. As we get the pass now on Nolan Siegel, that is Rasmussen, who is up to 6th. What an incredible run from Rasmussen. That is 13 places gained. And Scott McLaughlin is up to 9th. That is 18 places gained from where he started this race. We ride on board with McLaughlin, courtesy of Expel. And what a day he is having.
Oh, as that Santino Ferrucci had a big wiggle in 1 and 2. I thought McLaughlin would get a run there, but then McLaughlin loosened up in the dirty air. And now he does his mid to high line through 3 and 4, and he'll get a chance.
Look at the exit. Look at the exit speed. Oh.
And Ferrucci not as comfortable to just kind of roll that speed on the entry there on the high line. So maybe this car not quite where he wants it to run both lanes. McLaughlin having no problem up in lane 2.
We have 3 Penskes in the top 8, and McLaughlin started 27th and last. You want to talk about redemption. This is the afternoon for Penske. Absolutely incredible. Newgarden first, Power 4th, McLaughlin 8th, and I don't think McLaughlin is done yet as we now hit lap 200. 75 left to go.
Verizon on board of Will Power. He's choosing to be up in that high line right now. And Townsend, I wonder if part of that is trying to take care of those tire temps, try to protect that right front tire like we heard Kevin mention earlier. He had that issue in Gateway. One of the things the driver can do, if you run that wider radius of being up high, you're not demanding as much of that right front. You're not putting as much lock in the steering, and that can kind of just take a little bit of the energy out, take a little bit of the temperature out.
Yeah, that handling of the right front can happen via controls as well. We've seen several adjustments from this guy to try to sort out the balance of his race car. Pato O'Ward working the front anti-roll bar with his right hand, either stiffening or softening the roll rate across the front axle, just trying to get the tires and the contact patch to work as well as possible across the bumps. In clean air, you're generally going to want it a little bit stiffer because you have more front downforce. In dirty air, you're going to soften that front bar off, allow the car to roll and sort of bite up on the front and help it turn across the middle.
James, you have won at this track twice. We are entering a period where we can no longer be assured there will be a yellow. I mean, that's just natural. You can't ever assure it anyway. But we've had 2 yellows that have fallen at exactly the right point for the stops to be made. When you have to take a green flag stop here, you lose on average about 2 laps. When do you pull the pin? When do you come in? How late do you leave it, or how early do you take it?
Totally depends on how your car's running, where in the line you're running. If you're one of these cars up front, you want to try to make this last as long as possible. But if you don't have the car to just drive your way up to the front and battle a Josef Newgarden, maybe if you want to really roll the dice like a Scott McLaughlin, you can come in a little bit earlier, get those fresh tires, and rip off some very quick lap times to close that gap. You are exposed if a yellow comes out because of, as you say, losing those 2 laps. So it really just depends how brave you want to be and how big of a risk you want to take as a big save there from McLaughlin in the Expel Chevy.
It's starting to get pretty wild out there. I understand there were some moments between the 76 of Connor Daly and Christian Rasmussen just a few laps ago. Let's take a listen to some radio.
And the only guy got out here making moves right now is the 21. Kind of all over the place, lane 2, lane 1, running into people. He's 2 cars back now, but he's the only one making moves at this point.
So that a message of warning to Connor Daly that the driver in his mirrors has been one of the drivers of the day, and Daly will know all about Rasmussen from Gateway.
Not exactly a flattering description from Connor Daly spotter Matt Long on the behavior of Christian Rasmussen today. If you're Connor Daly, you're like, oh great, so what am I supposed to do with that? I got a wild man coming 2 races in a row. Last time it was Ferrucci that Daly was dealing with. Today, Christian Rasmussen. But to Rasmussen's credit, he's kept it off the wall. It's been dramatic. It's looked wild. It's looked reckless many times. But he's finished, what, 6th at the Indy 500, 3rd at Gateway. The 2 best finishes for his race team. He is delivering the result.
It looks reckless, but he's been reckless. He has not had that wreck yet, even though he came so close so many times at the first 2 ovals and already 1 or 2 times here this afternoon.
And yet, Newgarden still leads. He's increased the gap to almost a second over Pato O'Ward, putting Stingray Rob a lap down. This is absolute perfection from Newgarden. Let's take a look at the moment of the race, sponsored by Pennzoil, and it's more the moments of the day for this man, Scott McLaughlin. A crash in qualifying denied him the chance to set a lap time that would have put him on the grid for either race. He starts, therefore, 27th and last, but the masterclass that he has put on today, passing at will, on the left, on the low, on the right, at the high, millimeters away from his rivals, always with consummate professionalism and absolute precision. Those your Pennzoil moments of the race. And here he goes again around the outside of Connor Daly. McLaughlin for P6.
Lap 224, 51 to go in Team Penske.
Nice and smooth, back in your rhythm.
Fighting back. This is what they expected of this season. This is not what they've had, though. But right now, Newgarden, Power, and McLaughlin running first, third, and sixth.
O'Ward managing to have a look at Josef Newgarden because Christian Lundgaard played the Abel rear gunner for him, backing Newgarden up into his teammate. Allowed Pato just to have that sniff, but Newgarden is too wise and too wily around this circuit to allow that to happen. While we were away, Will Power passed Alex Palou for third place. Alexander Rossi rolled the dice and took a gamble and pitted on green. Louis Foster now is doing the same, but we sit on board with Pato O'Ward, 0.4 seconds behind Josef Newgarden and inching ever closer.
Comes Louis Foster diving in. Now the question will be, when will the leaders pit? I think the answer is when they absolutely have to, when they're either out of fuel or can't hang on to the tires. Kevin, what can you tell us from pit lane?
So when they get to that final stop, the leaders, there might only be about 30 laps left. So does anybody think about not changing Firestone tires because they won't need a lot of fuel? I know this, Scott McLaughlin is going to change tires because they're going to make an air pressure adjustment, so they feel like they can make him even better than he is right now. Jack.
It's an interesting idea, Kevin. I managed to speak with Nick Snyder. He's the strategist on the 5 of Pato O'Ward, and asked him that exact question. We taking fuel only or tires? And he said, after seeing what happens to 27, we're probably going to do both. We're taking fuel and tires when the 5 comes in. Georgia.
Well, amongst the same for Barry Wanzen, strategist for Alex Palou. He just came over the radio and said with about 30 to go, we're thinking we want tires and shell fuel.
So we are about 15 laps away from those final stops. Guys, I've got to say, I don't think we're far away from an all-Penske podium. They've got that kind of pace today. And on a weekend where it all seems to be going right for them, for once this year, what odds they get a 1, 2, 3?
James, I think it's going to be tempting for somebody to gamble and go fuel only. 30 laps of fuel, only going to take you about 3 seconds. You throw 4 tires at your car, going to take you 6 to 7 seconds. Under a green flag stop, that could really matter, but then you're exposed on used tires at the end of the race. I think it's going to be fascinating to see if anybody really rolls the dice for a splash and go.
Here's the other thing I'm thinking about is when you come into pit, that apron down on the inside of turn 3 is so dirty.
And that radio was a Penske message. And I believe it was for the race leader. I can see his crew out on pit lane, and yes, Newgarden now jumps down to the inside line. Newgarden pulls the pin before anybody else and takes that stop from the lead of the race. Jack, call him in.
I'm actually a little surprised, Will, that as the race leader, he actually had the power hand to stretch a little bit to protect against any potential yellow. Pato O'Ward is also going to be pitting, but I'm still actually at the 2 box. Fresh tires, full fill. These in and out laps are critical. It puts so much pressure on these crew guys. And Pato O'Ward also heading back down. Oh no, he's coming back to me. Sorry, I got confused there for a second. These laps are so short. When these drivers come in, you end up going about 1.5 lap down. We're looking at Pato O'Ward now, stopped on the box. Tear-offs coming off. No wing change that I can see. Pato O'Ward's back down pit lane. Kevin.
Biggest charger in this race might still be a factor is Scott McLaughlin. They felt like they weren't going to have time to make a front wing adjustment to deal with understeer, so there is an air pressure adjustment on the Firestones. How quick is this stop? McLaughlin not super fast, he's away.
And Pato O'Ward on the bottom screen comes out on track. Where is Newgarden? Behind Pato O'Ward, but Newgarden will have the heat in his tires, will have the momentum, and will try to get around his rival, who has been within his rear mirrors all the way through this race. Newgarden to the high side, trying to get around him into 1. O'Ward defends, O'Ward holds on for now, but Newgarden is coming with pace for Pato O'Ward, but cannot find a way through. O'Ward will be the de facto leader when these stops play out. Brilliant strategy, brilliant stops from McLaren. We sit on board now with Newgarden, who has just essentially lost the lead of this race.
Newgarden needs to press right now. If Pato O'Ward can hold him off, it's going to be very difficult for Newgarden when the tires are fresh. I think that's Newgarden's best chance to get the lead back.
Pato having this dual job right now of managing traffic in front and keeping one eye behind him in the mirrors at what the number 2 of Newgarden is doing. But right now he's doing a great job clearing that lap traffic and getting cars in between him and Newgarden. Palou, however, is still your leader, and these guys are now a lap down. If a yellow comes out before these leaders pit, those guys are trapped.
So if you're Barry Wanzer, if you're Alex Palou and that DHL Honda, how long? Not that long, apparently, right now. So here is Josef Newgarden's stop. Oh, and there's a fumble on the left front tire, and that is so unlike that 2 crew. And that, the critical stop. Palou, though, is in. Let's take a look at his stop, take a look at where he blends out, because if Ganassi can get the job done faster than both McLaren and Penske, this could yet be Palou's day, Georgia.
Well, it was a little earlier than they wanted to. Barry had thought it was going to be about lap 30, but since the others came in, they pivoted and told him to come down to pit lane. Alex Palou comes to the first thing. They're taking just tires and fuel like it was said before. And and he is down and away. It was a bit of a slow stop, though, I must say, guys.
We keep our eyes then on Alex Palou as he exits pit lane. A 7-second stop for Palou. Keep your eyes on the blend line. Look out for the orange and black McLaren of Pato O'Ward. And from what I can see,
they're well ahead of Alex Palou. So Alex Palou lost out big on that pit stop sequence. With 33 to go, Armstrong, Newgarden, and Herta still have to pit.
So O'Ward and Newgarden and Power will be your top three when we come back. Newgarden and Armstrong yet to pit. We're back, and wouldn't you know it, had they just listened to Townsend Bell's estimation of lap 245 for that final stop, somebody out here would be incredibly happy. It's not going to be Nolan Siegel. He's lost it. He's in the barriers, which means we're under caution. But by the time he went in, every stop had, and I mean literally just, been taken, which means nobody gets that advantage of that stop under caution when everybody else had taken theirs under green. We ride on board with Siegel.
Let me tell you, this was a big hit. Listen.
Yeah, almost straight back in. A lot of crash structure back there, which helps. Safer barrier, which helps. But those NTT onboard pictures and audio really paints a picture for you.
And a real shame for Nolan Siegel, who was having such a great afternoon, consistently up in the top 10 today, and a real step forward. He was on the march towards having his equal best result in IndyCar of 7th, but not to be. And thankfully he looks...
Well, Nolan walking a little gingerly here to the AMR safety team. Looks like it may be a little bit of limp. You know, with an impact like that, one of the things that's always hard to deal with is your feet hitting the side of the pedals. Say your right foot hitting the brake pedal and that sharp edge of the pedal surface, or James, your knees coming together as well. They're just kind of jammed in there, feet and knees, not a lot of room, not a lot of space or a lot of give.
I'm also going to say sometimes when short track like this, you're dizzy when you get out of the car and you're standing on 14 degrees of banking. It takes a second sometimes just to get your bearings again.
But guys, through all these pit stops, the order that we have is Pato O'Ward leads from 3 Penske cars: Newgarden, Power, and McLaughlin. Pato O'Ward is your race leader, and today is a very important day for him and a huge milestone. His 100th race in the NTT INDYCAR Series. Can he turn that milestone into his first victory of the season? Guys, we have an absolute thriller set up here. 20 laps to go. O'Ward leads from the man who has led pretty much the entirety of this race, Josef Newgarden, who himself leads his teammates Will Power and Scott McLaughlin. Then is championship leader Alex Palou, and behind him a battle between the guys we were all looking for today, Rasmussen, Ferrucci and Daly, 6th, 7th and 8th. It is set up perfectly.
And that wall crew is working on the high hustle right now. They had a safer barrier steel panel. I think they're getting ready to tack weld back into place. So repairs to the safer barrier is going to take a while. IndyCar has said they'll make all of the effort to finish this under green as the crew continues to work. And I'll tell you, there's some work about to go down in a fierce way for the battle for 6th. You've got Christian Rasmussen, the most exciting driver, wildest driver of the night. And then you've got Connor Daly and Santino Ferrucci. Ferrucci running ahead of Connor Daly, and there's history between these two as recently as last week, James. Mid-Ohio, it got feisty between those two. As we understand that the red flag will come out for wall repair.
And that, understandable. And yeah, as we see, the blowtorch is out. Good to bring this thing under control. Take the cars off track, throw the red, and then we can get back to racing action once that all-important barrier repair is done.
So James, just thinking back to Mid-Ohio, I mean, it got crazy between this guy, Santino Ferrucci, and Connor Daly. Daly feeling like Ferrucci drove him right off the racetrack. Ferrucci feeling like Daly brake checked him on pit lane. Let's listen in.
Oh no, I made a mistake. You can see that I visibly missed the turn in. And when I tried to snap the car around on the throttle and brake, we happened to just touch perfectly in the mid-corner, and you can see the car straighten back out into him. You know, it's just a mistake on my part. And then I just got caught up messing with a back marker. I would have gone up and said something after the race, but he decided to brake check me in pit lane, which is just dumb. If he doesn't think that memories are short, then he's got something else coming.
Yeah, there's been words between these two. There's history between these two that goes back way beyond mid-Ohio. Connor called Santino a clown during the week. Santino called Connor a backmarker. All kind of playground stuff. I actually spoke to Kyle Novak over in race control, and he said, yeah, they did look at the telemetry. Connor was running about 10 mile an hour slower than he should have been on pit lane entry, which is why Santino didn't get a penalty for contact in pit lane. But there was no evidence that they could find of an intentional brake check, as Santino called it.
James, what do you think of Ferrucci's explanation of how he drove Connor off the racetrack? You buying that?
Let's just say the change in my pockets is empty. My pockets, I got nothing left. I got nothing to buy with that. I'm not shopping for that one.
It seemed like a tall tale from where I was sitting too, the way things just opened up in terms of the racing line for Ferrucci, and Connor found himself far off the racetrack. But they'll have 17 laps to sort things out when we get back to green flag running, and nobody has been braver to the high side on restarts than Connor Daly, especially with a clean racetrack. So there is a lot left to play out between these two tonight.
There certainly has been. But guys, what about the day that Penske is having? And let's be honest, this has not been Penske's year. Disappointment has turned to disaster more often than not on every single weekend, and whenever they seem to have a race in their hands, it just disappeared. Now they have had the lead of this race all the way through. Will Power has looked sensational today. Scott McLaughlin sits an incredible 4th, having started 27th. And I think Kevin down on pit lane can bring us some more on strategic permutations and thinking down on pit lane.
Well, we mentioned earlier that Ben Breton was the engineer for Simon Pagenaud when they went from last to first here, and that's where McLaughlin started. Ben is now the strategist, still helps Malcolm Fitch with the engineering. I think I heard Scott just say this is one of the best race cars he's ever had. How has he been able to move up 23 spots?
I think he's doing it all through just sheer driving. he's passed so many cars today. You know, I've never seen a driver that gets so depressed when a car crashes. He feels bad for all the mechanics. He feels bad for everybody that works so hard. This is just his effort to try to give back to not only the 3-car, but to Team Penske. Everybody helps, 2-car, 12-car, just to kind of turn around. We had a couple hours to basically build half of a brand new race car, and this is just his way of giving back. He's drove an impressive race today.
He looks like he might have enough to fight for the win, but 2 teammates right in front. How is this managed?
You know, I think everybody's going to take care of each other. Scott kind of already had a shot at Will. He knew Will drove him fair but hard, and I think Scott realized that too. I think if something happens, we'll be there to jump on it, but it's not going to be easy. We passed a lot of other cars, but now you're at the top of the mountain, right? So it's going to be difficult, but we'll see what he has.
Good luck, Ben. Hey, I also wanted to mention up here on the number 3 pit stand, someone who is affiliated with Penske Entertainment, Miles Rowe, the young man from the Atlanta area, now lives in New York City, just won his first Indy Next race today for Abel Motorsports and Force Indy. So he is one of the future stars hoping to get to IndyCar.
Thanks, Kevin. And he pulled it off with an astonishingly brave move here earlier today. Certainly a star of the future there, Miles Rowe. Excited to see him continue to go from strength to strength in Indy Next.
Looked so comfortable, did Miles Rowe.
Looked great
on the short oval, making all kinds of great moves and suggesting he's got the talent and the potential to shine at the next level.
Well, as the wall is repaired, don't forget that tomorrow it's the second leg of the IndyCar race weekend from Iowa. The fastest racing on Earth continues tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. There is your championship leader, Alex Palou. You know what? He has the pole for tomorrow's race, but if today is anything to go by, he hasn't looked as comfortable out on track as his rivals have, particularly those 3 Penskes or the car of Pato O'Ward.
That's because he's leading the championship. He's got everything to lose by getting too aggressive. Everybody else has huge opportunity to go for wins. That's what they need to close on the points. Palou's like, hey, you know what? Top 5, I'd be fine with that. You guys go ahead and fight it out and risk everything.
He could take 2 weekends off. He
and
wants
then some.
Come on, he wants the records. He wants to continue. You don't think that guy turns up every weekend wanting to win?
He does, but he also, he's a championship mindset guy.
A look down there at the drivers who have won their 100th start in the NTT INDYCAR Series, and some pretty incredible names.
Let's see if we can dial up the leader of the race right now, Pato O'Ward, see what he's thinking about. Hey, Pato, it's Townsend Bell up in the Fox Sports booth. You copy?
Yeah, I copy.
Hey, man, red flag. What are your feelings right now when this comes out? What are you thinking about as we get closer to the restart?
Second groove is working. I think it's going to be obviously a shootout to the end. But, you know, I've got a fast car. I've got fast cars behind me. So it'll be flat out to the end.
Man, you got to the lead with just a brilliant outlap, especially on the apron after that last green flag stop. I saw you really fighting the race car turn 2 of the apron. That looked like pretty dicey stuff. Was that the difference, you think, to make the move on Newgarden?
I mean, the guy's a master. You know, you have to go the extra mile to, you know, to try and beat him at his own game. But the race isn't over, and I'm sure he's gonna be right on us.
How do you say king of corn in your native language?
King of corn. I think Josef deserves that title, but I think it's you know, it's time to turn the tables and, you know, give him a little bit of a headache.
All right, well, we'll be up here working on some sort of Mexican equivalent, and hopefully we'll see you in victory lane.
Cheers, mate.
That's cool of Pato to take time to chat. He sounds like he's comfortable. He knows what to expect. Got a good handle on his race car.
Just going to say that. He sounds calm. And look, from inside the car, we know that this happens in IndyCar racing. This has become a little bit of a standard, and rightfully so. These late red flags, if there's a big cleanup, we want to see this thing fought out on the racetrack, not cruising around under yellow. So drivers have had a little bit of experience doing this in the last 3-4 years, Pato being one of them in Indy 500s. And so to be the leader, he knows, like he said, he's got a good car. There's a reason he's leading this race. And there's a reason that he was in a position to take the lead, and he just needs to absolutely nail that restart, because as he said, that second line is working, and you better believe Josef's going to try it.
And Townsend, you asked Pato for the translation of the word corn, but I mean, don't forget the huge cultural significance of corn in Mexico. It goes back 9,000 years. I believe I'm right in saying the Mayans and the Aztecs actually believed that mankind was born from corn originally.
Well, I think corn is maize, right, in Spanish. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go with vaquero de maize. It's the corn cowboy.
Oh,
if he can pull it off tonight.
Yeehaw. And if he does, well, whoever wins tonight, not going to get to celebrate the way you'd normally like to, because we got to do this again tomorrow.
Looks like that safer barrier is fixed up, tacked up. Ready for some paint tonight, but they will leave it as is as the crew gets packed back up and we get closer to this restart.
I'm continually impressed and amazed by the job that the AMR IndyCar safety team do. The folks here on circuits to be able to patch up, to fix the fences, the walls, the barriers this swiftly. It's an incredible job that they do.
And most importantly, how swiftly they're on the scene in an accident on an oval.
Absolutely.
And nobody knows that better than the guy sitting right next to us, James Hinchcliffe. I mean, these guys for decades now have been the benchmark of safety and driver support in crisis. On the world stage of motorsport, there's nobody better, and the drivers know that. And I think one of the reasons IndyCar drivers are some of the bravest on the planet is because they know they've got the AMR safety team watching their backs.
Yeah, the comfort that it gives you as an IndyCar driver is tremendous, and they have set the standard in motorsports. We've seen them now expand into other forms of racing, but they really were the first to have that dedicated traveling crew. They know the drivers, they know the cars, and it just makes such a difference. And as you say, I've been on the receiving end of that expertise, and no driver can thank them enough for the work they do.
We're still under red here, so why don't we take a look back and recap the race so far. A race which was led to green by Josef Newgarden in the Penske, but as soon as we went green, we went yellow because Colton Herta had a little spin over the infield. But when we did finally get underway, Scott McLaughlin was the guy putting on the moves in the early laps.
Yeah, he was really charging hard, working the high line pretty well. But then a little bit of an issue for Connor Daly on the left rear, fighting with the big guns in the sport for the lead of this race. Daly would eventually come back, and then more troubles for Kyle Kirkwood.
Yeah, tire going down on the right front of the 27, puts second in the championship coming in here. Kyle Kirkwood into the wall and out of the race.
Critically, though, on that final stop that they had, a slight bobble for Josef Newgarden on the front left, and that when Pato O'Ward came out from his stop, he was ahead of the man who had led every single lap to that point. The red flag, though, has come out for a huge impact for Nolan Siegel, reversing up into the wall. Engines have been refired. We are moments away from getting this race back underway. 17 laps to go here at Iowa. It is Pato O'Ward from Josef Newgarden, a battle which has shaken out not just at Indianapolis, but it seems almost every time we turn up to an oval, it's these two fighting at the front. There is history, there is previous between them. They love racing each other, but they love nothing more than coming out on top of that battle. Third and fourth, Power and McLaughlin. McLaughlin sits fourth from 27th on the grid. Alex Palou, your championship leader, is fifth. Christian Rasmussen up an incredible 13 places from his grid spot, sits sixth. Then Ferrucci and Daly. Keep your eyes on P6, P7, P8. Then Armstrong and Rahal, 9th and 10th.
You may have noticed that the 20 of Alex Rossi off the track and out of the race. We understand an engine issue on that car. Will not be able to complete all 275 miles. His teammate, though, Christian Rasmussen, up there in 6th place, flying the flag for ECR. He's going to be an exciting one to watch on this restart as well.
Oh, yeah. Rasmussen, Ferrucci, Daly. That's going to be dramatic. But Josef Newgarden, talk about hunger on this restart. He will feel total disappointment if he doesn't win this race tonight.
And deservedly so, because he has mastered this track and he has dominated the field.
It's so painful when you have a race that you control so much, command for so long, and then have it slip from your fingers at the last minute. It's a sickening feeling. Second always feels a little off, but it's so much worse in that scenario, as we're now under a lap to go before we set this thing off.
15 laps remain here at Iowa. Pato O'Ward will take them back to green. He will temper the speed on the back stretch, running down to turn 3 and turn 4. Behind him, 3 Penskes.
Well, and Will Power has looked great in the closing stretch, so don't rule him out to make a big move on his teammate and O'Ward.
It could still be anyone's day as Pato O'Ward brings the field to green. And as we get the restart, O'Ward does lead, and look at Rasmussen already, up and on the inside of Alex Palou, the ECR man, making the move, getting his elbows out immediately.
Palou having to accept that he's going down as a yellow comes out.
That's Ilott. Yellows breed yellows. This time a red leads to the yellow. There's Callum Ilott up and into the wall, rear wing, hanging off the Prema. Try to bring that thing back to the pits.
As long as there's not anything to bring on the racetrack, this should be a pretty short yellow. And I think it's good news for Josef Newgarden. It gives him another chance to maybe try to get a better jump on Pato O'Ward, because that last restart, Newgarden really didn't seem to have much of a run. Pato O'Ward had done a great job.
If you're now one of the Penskes, though, coming to this restart, guess who you've got behind you? Rasmussen. On a charge. He just loves his oval racing, does Christian Rasmussen. So impressive at Gateway. Fell to the back and started from the back of the field. Fell to the back of the field with a penalty with about 50 laps of the race to go. Still finished on the podium. There is just something about this type of track and Christian Rasmussen that melds so easily. There he is, putting the moves on the championship leader.
Man, Callum Ilott on that replay was high early. Let's take a look on board with Stingray Robb. So Callum Ilott trying to do what so many have done all day long, but maybe just too high on the way in.
Yeah, just got in a little hot, a little high. And then the back end stepped out as he was chasing it up the racetrack. Rear wing tether doing a great job. Another IndyCar innovation.
Georgia, what can you tell us about Christian Rasmussen, who is having such a phenomenal day?
Well, I can tell you Christian Rasmussen excels on ovals. If you look at his ovals this season, 6th at the Indianapolis 500 and his first podium in 3rd at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Earlier this weekend, I said, you know, how does it feel to be kind of an oval guy? And he said, well, I want to be a full season guy, but right now it's playing to his advantage. 19th to 5th for Christian Rasmussen, and the advice that he's getting is to keep those tires clean right now.
He is a full season guy. He won the USF 2000 Championship in 2020, won the Indy Pro 2000 Championship in 21, won the Indy Next Championship in 23. Here today, trying to equal his best result or go even better, fighting the Penskes to get on the podium, but we are 1 to go. Pato O'Ward again will bring them to green. Power closes up to Newgarden. McLaughlin closes up to Power. Rasmussen has them all in his sights. Pato O'Ward has them all in his mirrors, but can he hang on? 10 laps to go when they cross the line. It will be 9. Pato O'Ward leads, and look at Scott McLaughlin on the inside of his teammate Will Power, running wheel to wheel. But Power still has the pace advantage over his teammate as Newgarden now looks around the outside of the McLaren driver, and O'Ward holds the lead, but for how long?
Palou is trying to get another look at Rasmussen. They're side by side.
Oh!
A big correction from Newgarden into 1.
Massive save from Josef Newgarden. That will allow Pato O'Ward just a momentary breath in the lead of this race.
And that's all you need. Relatively fresh tires. 8 laps to go. Pato's just got to keep his head down, his eyes forward, and his right foot flat.
I'm impressed how Newgarden was able to claw back some of the gap to Pato O'Ward. His car drafted up really well, but once he gets there, he's got to find a way to get clean air. Pato O'Ward knows that and is doing a great job to stay wide open, hang on to this thing. 6 to go.
For every one of the top 4 drivers today, this is more than just a victory. This is more than just a race. This has been a season of disappointments, perhaps for no one more than Josef Newgarden. A win today would be vindication for them all. At the end of such horrible luck and such disastrous despair, O'Ward still leads from Newgarden, but the gap is less than 0.3 of a second as they round into 3 and out of 4. What a battle we have on our hands. It will be 4 to go across the line.
Pato was a bit high there in 3 and 4. That gave Josef some clean air down low. He kept the left side of his wing clear. That got him close.
And he's got a run. He seems to have a run on every lap. They are split by nothing.
I think Newgarden's best chance appears to be in turns 1 and 2, but now Newgarden goes even higher through 3 and 4. But down here at this end of the track, Newgarden's getting a great run off of turn 2. This is as close as he's been.
Taking that Penske line slightly higher on the exit of 2. He cuts down low and has a look at O'Ward into 3. So close, he can sniff his exhaust gases now. 2 to go.
These guys are flying 177 miles an hour the last lap for Pato O'Ward. That's qualifying pace.
Pato O'Ward rounds turn 3. It's now or never for Josef Newgarden. He has 1 lap to put the move on his old rival. Has a look up the inside into 1. O'Ward has it covered. Exit of 2. It's now or never for Josef Newgarden to deny Pato O'Ward a historic win on the occasion of his 100th victory. His centenary run will be capped off with success. Pato O'Ward wins at Iowa. The first Chevrolet victory of the year, the first McLaren victory of the year.
Fabulous job.
What a job from Pato O'Ward. 100 races not out. Absolutely sensational drive to deny the Penske team, who looked so good, almost undefeatable today.
So baby, P1.
That will sting for Josef Newgarden, but a return to form for Penske that cannot be denied. Newgarden, Power and McLaughlin 2nd, 3rd and 4th, but guys, a word for this man, Pato O'Ward. He's had such a quiet season, by his normal reputation, but he's always been there, always been competitive. Third in the championship coming into today, and a deserved winner.
And he cools off those wicked fast hands out of the cockpit, and that was the difference on the final green flag stop. The tiniest of bobble from Newgarden's crew, and O'Ward seized the moment with a brilliant outlap. Those crazy fast hands fighting the race car on cold tires, and just narrowly pulled it off.
And that's just the thing. He put himself in a position to capitalize on that last pit cycle. The crew absolutely executed on pit lane. He did what he had to do on the in and outs, and that outlap defending against Newgarden was so impressive. These two coming into this race have finished first and second 9 times, 6-3 in favor of Josef. This is the 10th time, and it goes to Pato.
How many times? 9 times.
9 times.
9 times. Incredible. What a run from Pato O'Ward, and what a drive to deny Newgarden. You have to say, on the balance of all probabilities, this was Newgarden's day. But we can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that Penske are back. This has looked likely for some time. We saw it at Gateway. We saw the pace out of them. Goodness, back at the Indy 500, it just hasn't all come together, and they will be devastated not to take the victory today. But Scott McLaughlin, I think, with one of his finest races today, 27th to 4th, narrowly off the podium. Driver of the day for me, an astonishing drive, willpower, fighty throughout, and Newgarden, I mean, perfect for, what are we looking at, 95% of the race.
And the best part for Team Penske to do it today is there's tomorrow. It's a double header.
But no one will be happier than this man. Pato O'Ward with a brilliant victory. The cheers of his name ring out, and the cheers will be loud for one of the most popular drivers in this series. Pato O'Ward, a winner in 2025 at last. And as he leaps into the arms of his team, Georgia Hennebree is standing by to be Pato O'Ward.
It's congratulations all around from his team. An incredible jump to your team as well. They deserve this. They worked so hard to do it. High fives all around as Pato O'Ward is victorious today. Not only that, but on your 100th start. How storybook is this?
This is great. We've been waiting for this one all year. It's crazy. My 50th race was also a win here in Iowa, and that's the only other win I have here. So it's a cool story. Great job by by my McLaren guys and gals. This Chevy powered machine was I think it's 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3 Chevy podium. So it was about time. I'm super happy. I'm the Chevy guy that gave them their first win this year, and yeah, I mean, Josef's the master at these races. He rules around here, so I knew that we had to be spot on, and I had to be so precise on the in laps to beat him at his own game. So yeah, this is awesome, and we have another chance tomorrow. It'd be really cool to double up.
You beat the king of corn country, as you alluded to, but how did you strategize under that last restart to able to hold him off those last 10 laps?
I mean, we've had so many duels, Josef and I, but he has a percentage that comes out on top more. And today I was like, you know what, today is the day that changes. So it was great racing out there, and I had a lot of fun making that outside groove working whenever we were 4th and 5th. And as soon as we were behind him, we just kind of we just positioned ourselves to get it done.
Congratulations. Pato O'Ward victorious here in Iowa. Radio.
Josef Newgarden, second place today. I know you're going to be disappointed not to have won. You led over 230 laps. This must give you confidence heading in tomorrow, though.
I don't know that it changes tomorrow. Just, Ward got track position there, and that was game over. Just simple as that. So, Stemmo car was quick. Team Chevy did a great job. Finally getting a win for Team Chevy is a big deal, and they should have had way more on the year. So, good to finally get one.
Congrats, buddy.
Well, disappointed for Josef Newgarden, of course, but what a result for Pato O'Ward. Takes the Advanced Auto Parts checkered flag for the first time this year. Let's take a look at the Advanced Auto Parts checkered flag moment as Pato O'Ward holds off Josef Newgarden for the win on the occasion of his 100th race. It is victory for Pato O'Ward. Denying Newgarden and Will Power in third, and Will Power is standing by with Kevin.
Will Power comes home with his second podium of the year, and Team Penske is 2, 3, 4. So what do you take away with this big rebound for the team today?
Yeah, oh man, we've always had the speed. Just a very smooth day, I would say. Some good racing out there. It's the second lane, which is awesome. It's the second lane came in. I think everyone should thank Connor Daly for bringing it in, or at least showing us how you do it. Him and Ferrucci, man, they roll that outside really well. And I just watched Connor do it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So he taught me there. But yeah, solid day. I'm really happy with third. I just wanted to have a smooth day with no problems. And that's what I got. Hopefully tomorrow we can go for the win.
Yeah, it shows that tomorrow might be even more entertaining. Will Power.
And here are your results then. Pato O'Ward, first win of the season from Josef Newgarden, Will Power and Scott McLaughlin. What a race from McLaughlin. The championship leader, fifth, Christian Rasmussen. Brilliant sixth from Connor Daly and Santino Ferrucci. Armstrong and Dixon completing the 10th.
Yeah, a lot of drivers that kind of hung on here to try to get somewhat of a result. Not a bad day for Louis Foster, the rookie, continuing to learn IndyCar on the short oval, and then struggles at the back, James, with several drivers, some getting into the fence and some just not being able to get it done on pace.
But look at that gap now, 106 from Pato O'Ward up to Alex Palou. Kyle Kirkwood dropped down as you look through the rest of your top 10 in points. Will Power, good gains there. And Scott McLaughlin enters the top 10.
Next on Fox, it's baseball night in America. Bryce Harper leads the Phillies against Manny Machado, and the Padres or the Rangers take on the Astros. And tomorrow it is the second leg of the IndyCar race weekend here in Iowa. The fastest racing on earth continues tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. For James and Townsend, the gang in the pits, I'm Will Buxton. We'll see you tomorrow.